All right. Let's see. I think I got it working this time. I don't know what the hell was going on. Everything went to hell. The whole thing just kind of gave up on me. It said disconnecting, reconnect like 500 times. Hopefully, okay now. Jeez, I'm not sure what the heck was going on there. If it continues to have issues like this, then I'll just call it. I'm just watching myself, and I guess today. Um, Either I'm not even sure if I get in trouble for trying to do this. So I guess I'll find out when the time comes. Here we go. What were we? What was I doing? Oh, I just watching. We were gonna start a match. We were gonna play some games. That's what we were gonna do. And I was going to skip ahead to where they actually do things. So let's jump ahead to where they're about to start the actual thing. Hit UE up now. Where is my client capture? Bam. That should pop up the client capture. There we go. Alright, we'll see if it works. If it works, awesome. If not, then I tried. I just want to watch some freaking League with everybody. I think I have a 726. I mean, it's tiny. Can't notice at 1080 anyways, right? Yeah, if it continues to have issues, then we'll just call it good. We'll say we tried. But if not, then yeah, we can play and watch some worlds and have some fun ARAM. We'll see what we can do. Let's jump into a match. While they do whatever it is. Do they have someone? Genji is nice. Nice man. Just to make sure no one has to deal with my, in case it does freak out on me, let's jump into, I can't do team fight tactics. Play 3 TFT games to unlock Doctor's Trials. I was having fun with that on my other one. Why have to do with the real one? I hate the real one. Okay, fine. We'll do the real one. We'll do 3 of these normal ones, even though we'll probably just end up losing. Get knocked out of the way. And in the meantime, we can test to see if this is actually going to work for us.
We are honored to welcome you to our home here in Gyeongju for the Uri Bank 2024 LCK Summer Grand Finals. Welcome everyone. Digon here in the space on the road alongside Ox and Wadid to break down the Grand Finals.
At least it's in there. Oh, but okay, I was going to say it's not showing where it's supposed to be. What is this?
We have, and a different matchup for the first time in a long time. Another team will go up against Genji in the finals and try and take them down.
New storylines, new challenger, so I'm expecting a new result from these finals as well.
All right, well, let's take a look at how we got here with the bracket, as it has been a long, long journey. D+ and T1 were able to work their way up into matchups against Genji and Hanwha Life, but fell to them, and we had this matchup in the upper bracket round 3 match where Genji took it 3-1. Then yesterday, at the Gyeongju Indoor Stadium, Hanwha Life Esports took down T1 to stop the history that has been made over the last 2 years. It is not a Genji and T1 final. Hanwha Life Esports looking to upset one of the best.
Oh, was it quick or was it really slow loading? We'll find out.
Through the regular season, this is definitely the expected matchup. These two teams have firmly been at the top 2 when we looked at performance, when we looked at the standings for most of the season.
Lucky I'm playing against a bot.
But there's still that worry that T1 might be able to
I don't know what the
ramp
hell
up
I'm
towards the
doing.
end, as they have a tendency to do. Hanwha Life Esports would not let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
Rock is
Hanwha
always
Life
good, right?
Esports is only team that maybe can break down the Genji esports in the scene. So I feel like they have higher chance because we saw a lot of insane performance from team.
Yeah, and as you take a look at our graphic here, over the last several years, it has been
How
T1
loud
and
is our
Genji
game?
non-stop in the finals. And, you know, you might have been wondering
This is
what
loud it's gonna get.
character that we have here.
I feel like
Well,
it's
this
quiet.
is the Chomsong-yi,
Isn't it?
which is
Or just me?
representative of the Chomsong
I've lost my mind.
which is the oldest oldest astronomical observatory in Asia. And you don't need an observatory to see all the stars on display here because we have so many players that have
Don't
played
catch
in the
those
finals.
pretty-
2-0s.
I think it's clear to everyone that Genji have been super dominant this season, have looked really good, but seeing all those records together kind of highlights how much of a sort of record-breaking dominant split this has been for this team.
Yeah, and also it's really impressive to see like Golden Genji in Golden City
That seems
Gyeongju
cheating.
because maybe they can continue the dominance in this year.
Yeah, it is quite possible, and this team has been so good. But on the other side, history also in the making as we had
no idea what I'm
the
doing
last remaining Tiger from Rocks Tigers. It's Peanut back at his home organization, now renamed as Hanwha Life Esports, taking on Tiger Nation 8 years later since the last time he was in the finals.
Such a long time, also such a long gap for this organization. The first time they've been in the finals since the rebrand, since the new name, and the fact that Peanut is with the roster again to bring them to the finals, it's something
Put it more
special.
to the corner. Hopefully
I
it
mean,
works.
even though he's not a guy who stays in a team for a long time, he always changes the team. But I feel like Rock's Peanut is one of the like memorable Peanut that we actually remember. And also, if Peanut wins these finals, it will be LCK with Rocks Tigers. He had a champion with Rocks Tigers 8 years ago. So the legacy continues with Hanwha Live Esports right now.
Absolutely.
Now
But
we do.
standing in their way, the most dominant team in the world in Genji. As we take a look at their accolades throughout all of LCK and Worlds events, you've got champions all the way down. The numbers
I
are
forgot how to
remembered.
play
1,
regular
4, 3,
TFT.
2. That's
It's
how
gonna be
many
interesting.
LCK titles these guys have.
I feel like when looking at a graphic like this, it's easy to take for granted LCK titles, but think how long Keen fought and performed at a high level before he finally got his, and the fact that players like Pays, so new, already has two in the bag, just the spread of titles between these players is really something crazy.
And
No.
look at it. Look at
Don't start
Sekiro.
singing a song.
So cool, but it's gonna be like ruined or fill up with another insane record here.
That's right. Again, 6 titles here for Peanut, 3 for Doran. and
I got
so
wrecked
many
this one.
that have came through this Genji organization. Of course, we have 3 members that were a part of the original Genji roster that won it back in 2022, and now looking to run it back again in 2023. Excuse me.
Being smart.
And now looking to try and do it now as part of
I'm doing
Hanwha
that
Life
team
Esports.
fight tactics
even
to
with
test
really
to make sure it's gonna be okay.
successful Rosters, people will
Right.
often ask, okay, who's the most important member? Would this player be as successful if they weren't playing with Chovy, if they weren't on the team with such strong carries? And the answer we very clearly got from this summer is that all 5 members of this Genji roster in their own
I have
right
no
are
idea what I'm
phenomenal
doing.
players. They've split the roster in half. Both teams, obviously Genji being more successful, but Hanwha Life Esports now looking to challenge them. And it's no surprise that that year was so good for them domestically.
Yeah, it's not about team versus team. It's also
Forgot to play freaking TFT,
challenging
but you.
for themselves, for the players. So I feel like it's gonna be really interesting match today.
Yeah, you know what I loved? I loved the first time they picked it up in the spring in 2023. They're like, yeah, you know, we did it. What look at 2022.
Yeah.
And then in 2023 summer, they're like, yeah, this is the standard that we've set, and the players in
Hold on,
the
Blitzcrank, you
Genji
got this,
roster
buddy.
have continued that legacy so far, that standard, as we take a look at the players that
no, he
will be
doesn't.
partaking in this one. It has been one-sided.
What'd you get makes you so strong?
One-sided here. 20 matches, 19-1.
You know what this says to me?
What does it say to you, Ox?
Hanwha Life is just due for
Well, he's
a win,
cheating.
right?
He has more attack speed than
Hanwha
mine.
Life 20 times in a row. It's so overdue.
Oh, God, I suck
They're
at
ready.
this.
They're ready to take another win.
I mean, technically, this is the first time they are meeting each other's in the finals. So I mean, I want to see it like different. You know, I think playoffs and
Gimme
finals
Viger.
is just completely different match. So I think it will be different result as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 best-of-5s since we showed that graphic, which was back in
Like
2021. Only 3 game wins so far by Hanwha Life Esports.
How's our
Take a
stream
look
health
at
look?
their matchup in the upper bracket round 3
Looks okay.
earlier in this playoffs. Started off well for Hanwha Life Esports. Came out nice, but then the power and the draft flexibility from Gen G surprised Hanwha Life Esports, and they closed it out 3-1.
Yeah, and honestly, HLE put up a really good performance starting off in this series, but it felt like they kind of lost momentum as it went on. I think a big piece for them has been Zek on the small has really allowed him to constantly be a threat in the later stages of the game, and HLE have done a good job playing around that, but then Gen G just decided to deny it from there on out, and they could no longer lean on him having that late game potential. They put Pays on things like Callisto, dominant in lane, in the Renata Greens, the like champion pool. I think some of the ideas HLE had in some of these drafts later in the game, this one in particular in Game 3, were lacking. So, you know, Gen G always know they're going to perform at a very consistent level. HLE needs to step
this is normal now?
Here if they're going to be able to challenge again.
And also,
definitely different than
Underlord.
They're like weird special effects that every round
you can do. Similar playstyle because they highly relying on the pressure from the lane, and also they have really good structure. The fundamentals that they have is not even comparable towards any other SEK teams, but I feel like it's really just how connected well as a jungler, support, and mid laner, because it's the meta, you know. Maybe bot lane, you don't need to take care about that much, but you just need to take care about mid lane a lot, so you can have mid pressure into the vision, into the objective, into the team fight. The setup and fundamental will be the key in this series.
And I think a big thing Peanut's been so good at that we saw yesterday was him reacting to how the lane states were and adapting based on that. You know, we saw a bad trade in the bot lane where Carrier made a mistake, immediately punished. We saw Peanut change his pathing. The problem is Gen G really don't make many mistakes, so it is harder to find those windows.
One of the things I love about this graphic here, the one win that Hanwha Life got was on the red side, and we've seen how much priority there's been throughout playoffs on blue side, but the key to that was Smolder. He gets taken away, and then all of a sudden Hanwha Life didn't quite have too many answers.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday we could see that like Smolder was high prior from Hanwha Life Esports, but also the blue side was really strong because you have to bet
they do have
in like you need to ban Rumble,
PvE rounds
maybe
still.
you have to ban Ziggs if you cannot play against it. But the interesting thing is that Viper is one of the players that who wants to play against Ziggs. He showed up Jhin, and also he played Kaisa into it, so I'm wondering if he's gonna play against Ziggs this time around as well.
Yeah, I think it's one of these things where even though, you know, we're very late in the season, right at the end of the playoffs, you're still seeing the drafts evolve. Like the MF priority that was there, not really seeing anymore. We're now seeing Jhin into Ziggs, so teams are still adapting this late in the game, and I think HLE are definitely the team going into this. We need to think,
go,
how
little whimsical man.
From the previous series.
All right, well, that was the previous series. Let's dive into
this is where we get our
match for this series, the grand finals. We want to start in the jungle. 4 POGs out of 7 playoff victories, 2 yesterday for Peanut. And you saw after that victory, he had a little glimmer in his eye. He knew what he accomplished. He's going to Worlds, but now an opportunity for revenge against the rest of Gen G and Canyon, the man that replaced him.
I think Canyon has suited the champion pool that we've had this summer with all the AP picks so well. But we've seen a little bit of a move away from that, but it's still 2 players who can absolutely make a massive impact. I feel like Peanut has so much been about facilitating his lanes, setting them up. Canyon has often been a carry in his own right, but when things like the Maokai, the Skarner are available, he will perform the role the team needs.
And yeah, if Peanut wins today, it will be the first jungler who gets 7th title in LCK. So there's a lot of things to hold on these finals. And yeah, I mean, as I said, they are having similar playstyle. They are just highly proactive on the laning status.
What is Blitz?
And they're really good at just planning games and like just pull the trigger, you know. So I feel like it really depends on draft as well, because last time they really struggled on Kenya's Maokai. So I feel like this time around they need to have a better plan against Gen G.
Vanguard.
You are Hanwha Life Esports side.
Yeah, and if he's able to do it, it'll be 7 titles in 10 finals appearances. But he's got to do it against Canyon, who is 100% in finals win rate. When he makes it to finals, he gets the job done. Now let's move on down over to the mid lane where the superstars reside. It is the Church of Chovy, aiming to be the first ever Pentapete 5 in a row for Chovy against Zeka, who has that world title, but still looking for his first ever LCK title.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we've seen Chovy I feel like he's been less talked about this this split compared to Spring. In Spring, he was dominating games, completely taking over. He is still insanely good, but it's just, you know, the expectation is Chovy's on top. We talked a lot about Pays, a lot about Canyon. He is still putting out those solid performances game in, game out, and you have to be on your A game just to match. If you don't, you'll just get shut out the game. I do think Zeka has
51
gold.
gold.
Better
Okay,
and better
so we're gonna get
performances,
them.
and the
Whatever
meta
we
has
need
suited
extra
him.
for that.
You know, we've seen him on the Yone. The AD mids have always been good for him, but he really needs to be on point if he's going to be able to
What is
match
happening
Chovy.
here?
Yeah, I mean, I will normally say Chovy is so much better than Zeka, but I mean, we saw it yesterday, right? Zeka was just so consistent and steady against Faker, and I mean, that's the reason why they can have like so easier draft as well, because he can play Smolder, he can play AD carries, he can play Yone as well, like so many champion pools going on, but I feel like Chovy still has some poker face. Yeah, I mean, it was Garen, but this time around,
everything
I think
that's
he has
not
another
voices.
And it's not just play a bunch of different champions, it's play them at an elite level, at the best level.
Yeah.
And he got to hide a lot of that during the regular season. 15 games of Corki, 14-1 for him. As we take a look at the head-to-head between these two guys, it has been pretty
Then hope we can hear the
one-sided, I would say. As there's only
Vod.
one, and it's the big one. But again, the only one that Zeka's had, and this is what fans of Zeka have been waiting for. When will he get back to that playoff or that Worlds Run form where it was the greatest month in League of Legends of his life? But it hasn't been there yet. He's getting closer.
And I mean, you know what? Like, if I'm Chovy, I will not be happy seeing this match record. You know, so I mean, I feel like Chovy is gonna like go 100% on him right now.
You know what?
What does this do? Because magic resist now and what?
I'm feeling pretty Jew right now. You know?
Well, due up next is the bot lane as we've got two.
Dude, magic resist, armor, and a bunch of attacks to the end of the interesting. Okay. What do we lose with such good stuff?
Well, same thing for Pays, and that's his career. All he's done is win in finals, 3 in a row, going for 4 since he's been brought up to the roster.
And I think Pays has just had such a phenomenal season.
Where am I?
It feels like he is more and more
No one
growing
looks like a
as a
bee.
player and becoming this carry who is able to put in consistent performances, but also have those big moments where he steps up to the plate. He's like, I am taking the game in my hands. We are winning from here.
What's worth the
and
most?
the growth that he's
Purple?
continuing to have, it's easy to forget how young the player is. He's very recently come to the LCK. He's had more titles than a lot of players will see in their entire career.
I regret
and it
playing
feels
it.
like he still has so much
TFT, I have
room
no
to keep
idea what I'm
growing.
doing. I'm
I mean,
sorry.
Most impressive thing from Pays is that he's not getting
Jesus,
a
why
lot of
100?
resources from the team. When you actually watch Genji's game, like Lehans is kind of free to like walk around the map, and Pays is just randomly fed. I mean, they're not putting any resources, any like power on the lane, but just Pays is being Pays. Yeah, he's being just so consistent and really good, being on just good side. So I mean, he's just a guy who doesn't need any resources, but just fed at some point, you know.
He just finds the window,
Every
finds the
mistake
moment.
is a
And
lesson.
I feel like Viper's had a return to
There
form
we
in
go.
playoffs. When
Ooh,
Ezreal was
Pong
really
out
strong,
there.
he was popping off on that. As the meta shifted a bit, it felt like he wasn't really having those big impact games as much. But he has come back to form in terms of playoffs. Obviously, the stats are, it's hard to compare to
What's this
Pays,
do?
but he has been putting in the numbers. But Pays, some of these are just a little bit, 908 DPM, 21 KDA. Yeah, just a bit extreme.
I mean, even though we didn't spotlight Viper yesterday, he played really well against Ziggs, especially, and also Pays is
stacks
gonna
more
high
damage
Ziggs
eventually.
most likely for today. So it's gonna be really
We need better
interesting.
tanks,
If
that's what
like,
we
Pays
need.
is gonna challenge with another champion, or Viper
You know,
is gonna
butt
be
hand
willing
to us,
to
figuring out what the hell we're
play
doing.
against Ziggs right now.
Right, and we take a deeper dive into Pays because his form last split compared to this split, so different. We're thinking, hey, maybe Pays this bot lane might not be the strength of it. Man, things turned right on its head for the summer split.
Yeah, and I mean, part of this is going to be how dominant things were for Gen G, but I also think if you compare his performance in spring, he was the weak point of the team. It felt like Pays' laning, even going to the playoffs, was a bit of a problem point. It's why it was such a struggle to win for Gen G when it went to 5 games in the finals. I feel like the difference between now, he feels like
We need, like, all the
point of
ways
roster.
to
He's
this guy.
constantly a
Then we'll
driving
probably
force in
say.
these games, and when he does get his own resources, he's able to take over.
I mean, he's always with the team. He's always on the same page with the team. So that's why
Who
we're not
plays
seeing
TFT?
Pays getting
How
caught
does
on
this
the
work?
side, getting caught on the mid lane randomly. He's just always with the team. But as I said, he doesn't need any resources. He's just being good, you know.
Well, one of the ways that we dictate where the resources go are the coaches, and we have their interview standing by right now. Let's send it on over to the coaches' interview.
우리은행과 함께하는 2024 LCK 서머 그랜드 파이널. 오늘 경기를 앞둔 양 팀의 감독님들 만나서 인터뷰 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
네, 먼저 소개 좀
Oh, I forgot you
부탁드리겠습니다.
can't get
젠지
items off.
감독님부터
This is
부탁드립니다.
ridiculous.
안녕하세요. 젠지 감독 김정수입니다.
안녕하세요. 하나생명 e스포츠 감독 최인규입니다.
네, 바로 어제 경기에서 하나생명이 승리를 거두면서 젠지와 하나생명의 결승전이 성사됐습니다. 서로를 만난 소감이 어떠신지 궁금한데요.
I just saw
김정수
them and
감독님부터 부탁드리겠습니다.
네, 어제 경기 보면서 하나생명이 너무 강하다고 생각했고 바로 직전에 만났을 때도 저희가 이겼지만 저희도 긴장하면서
yeah, any
했거든요.
complete
그래서
items.
경기력이 좋은 하나생명이 올라올 거라 생각했고 오늘 조금 긴장되네요.
네, 최인규 감독님 어떠신가요?
네, 저희가 젠지랑 3라운드에서 만나서 패배를 했기 때문에 꼭 복수를 하고 싶었는데 이렇게
I need you.
큰 무대에서 만날 수 있게 되어서 재밌는 경기 펼칠 수
I
있을 것
guess you're
같습니다.
bashing
네,
a
하나생명
bunch of
같은
honeymancers
경우에는
now.
어제 이어서 오늘 또 다시 경기를 치르게
Vanguard.
됩니다.
Do we need
선수단
Vanguard?
컨디션은
네.
어떤가요?
사실 좀 어제 경기 하느라도
He's level 1 though. He's gonna be useless, right? Yeah.
지치고 그런 것도 있었지만 그래도 결승전 무대를
음,
준비할 수 있어서 더 힘내고 재밌게 준비했던 것 같습니다.
네, 반면에 젠지는 8일 만에 경기를 치르게 되는데요. 대회 감각 어떻게 유지하셨을지 궁금합니다.
8일 만에 경기를 치르나라 약간 경기감 감각이 떨어져 있는데 올해도 계속 솔랭하고 스크림하면서 그래도 경기 보고 최대한 잘
You're gonna
준비하려고
butt headed to this? I have no idea.
그렇다면 오늘
Don't worry.
펼쳐질 결승전 가장
Yep.
핵심이 되는 라인 어디라고 보시는지 궁금합니다. 김정수 감독님.
일단 가장 중요한 건 미드라인인데 그래도 전라인 다 중요하다고 생각합니다.
네, 하나생명의 생각은 어떨까요?
저도 마찬가지로 5명 모두가 중요하지만 미드 라인이 좀 더 중요하다고 생각하고 있습니다.
네, 말씀하셨듯이 승자조 경기에서 한번 만난 적이 있는 젠지와 하나생명입니다. 그 당시에는 젠지가 3대1 승리를 거뒀었는데요. 오늘은 몇 대 몇 스코어 예상하시는지 들어보겠습니다. 젠지부터 부탁드립니다.
스코어 생각보다는 그냥 이긴다는 각오로 임하겠습니다.
네, 하나생명의 생각은
아니,
어떨까요?
결승전이니까 아무래도
아니,
3대1
good
아니면 3대2 예상하고 있습니다.
네, 그럼 마지막으로 결승전에 임하는 각오 들어보겠습니다. 김정수 감독님 부탁드립니다.
저희 선수단이 지금까지 되게 좋은 성적으로 여기까지 왔는데 꼭 마무리 잘해서 팬분들 기쁘게 해드리고 싶고 저희도 최선을 다해서 꼭 우승하도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Do that.
최인규 감독님
저희도
부탁드립니다.
선수단 열심히 준비한 만큼 꼭 좋은 경기력으로 보답드리도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
What's your way to
양팀 모두
offer?
최선을 다해서 멋진 경기를 보여주시기를 바라면서 김정수
Take that off
감독님,
the U.
최인규 감독님과의 인터뷰 여기서 마무리하도록 하겠습니다.
You're both level 2. Right?
To
I
hear
was level 3
from
too.
the coaches and a unique little wrinkle again.
I'm massively
teams stop
different, I guess.
scrimming because you know their season is done. You got to look to solo queue. Gen G have had to find a way to stay sharp here, Ox.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Gen G haven't really been challenged. I mean, other than the KT series, so it is hard to.
Freaking
we've
Ezreal
seen a lot of
cheater.
teams before have undefeated streaks and then kind of falter because they haven't had to improve. I feel like Gen G still know that this dominance can be temporary if you don't keep pushing yourselves.
All right, well, it's prediction time, y'all, as we are getting closer and
Viger, you
closer
are
to the
strong, buddy.
finals.
Why?
So I'll start with the main man right here in the middle, and that smile looks devious. I think you had a phrase that you're using a little bit here. What is
What's that
going
again?
on, Ox?
The duo
Ferris?
win, right? I mean, I think the last series, obviously, I think this is going to be an upset if Life Esports wins, obviously.
I can
but
probably
think
place Varys
the
in with
last
him
time
now,
they
right?
matched up, HLE had some issues with
Strong
the draft.
now?
I'm hoping they learned from that. They looked a lot better yesterday, and it feels like they're growing
Looks
from
like
that
it.
defeat. And I think they
I need
have.
Varys.
the
I just need
tools
more
to
honey
win.
mancers.
Whether they do is another question, but I'm really hoping it happens. We finally have a different finals matchup. I'm hoping
Every
we get a
mistake
different
is a
finals winner to
lesson.
shake things up.
Druid?
We did.
I mean, even though I said like Hana Life Esports
What are
showed
you?
a really great performance yesterday,
Yeah, he likes
I
this
still
apparently.
think Gen G didn't unleash their real power, real chaos on the mid lane still. So I feel like Gen G is gonna kind of stomp them, but I wish it's gonna be like interesting match, but I still believe in Gen G a lot.
There's a lot of damage.
What do you think of his prediction upon the light? That has to be.
I mean,
That has
it
to
can happen because I got shocked by yesterday's performance as well. So I mean, it can be like go 50-50, but I mean, I'm not Gen G guys. So no man, Gen G is so strong, guys.
That's what I think too, and that's what my prediction is. I've got Gen G taking this one and solidifying their place as the #1 seed in Worlds for Korea and the #1 team in the world.
Hey, Tigon, in the global predictions, what position were you at the end of the season?
I was hopeful. I voted with my heart. I learned yesterday, y'all. I voted for T1 because I was like, T1 has some magic. There's the T1 magic thing.
Back home.
And so now I'll vote with my brain. Gen G is the best team in the world.
I think release 2 more honeys.
They're due.
I know play ARAM or something. I don't know.
That's probably not good when it comes to predictions, as we are just a minute and 30 away. Some unique facts here about this finals. This is the first non-T1 Gen G or D+ combination, some sort of combination of that, since DRX 2020, whose mid laner was who?
There we go. And it says, you need it.
No, it was Chovy. It was
You
Chovy.
like
It was
those, so we'll
Doran,
give you those.
Yoshik, Chovy, Deft, and Carria on that roster. So first time since 2020 where it is an organization that isn't that. Also, time to bring it up. A step towards the golden road.
These are my damages
Again,
and my tanks.
You won spring.
He's our main
you
tank.
won
I guess I
MSI.
keep that.
You got to take care of things domestically, and then you move towards your focus towards Worlds. And lastly, this is the LCK curse. The first time. I can't believe this has never happened. A team has never won. If all their players were
The next
voted
we'll give Nunu
all
one,
pro
probably.
here in the LCK. If they were first team all pro, the whole roster, they have never won. So Gen G's got to shake a little bit of history there with it.
I mean, is Ox curse is gonna stronger, or LCK curse is gonna get stronger? Then?
Ox, final thoughts?
I'm hoping on the kiss, you know? I'm hoping it's gonna come in clutch for me. I see the little silent like, the little devious.
All right, hey, look, that Hanwha Life Esports playoff series against Gen G earlier was close in terms of macro, but now it's time to put up or shut up here in the finals. At the beginning of every season, everyone dreams, everyone hopes that you can become a champion, and it requires the stars to align. And here in Gyeongju, that is what both these teams are hoping for. The 2024 LCK Summer Grand Final starts right now.
Let's go Grand Finals. Who are you guys' bets on? LCK. If you haven't seen it already, it's Hanwha Life Esports versus Gen G. Gen G beat the crap out of already earlier. The upper bracket, and they've been essentially undefeated this entire freaking year. They're insane. Hanwha Life managed to stop T1 from making it to finals. So, that's gonna be interesting. I can give more now. Ooh. 5-star. What? I'll put him up. You are nothing that I need. Holy crap, you do a lot of things. Okay. Bench is full. Shoot back. Look here.
Put me to the test.
What the hell did I just do? Where's she?
하우스 오브 레전드. 우리은행과 함께하는 2024 LCK 서머 그랜드 파이널. 이곳 천년의 고도 경주에서 또 다른 역사를 써내려가고자 하는
I should have got that one. I did not know what it was gonna do.
오늘 밤하늘을 아름답게 수놓을 것입니다.
All right. We won. Wasn't paying attention. Good job. Ooh, it's so pretty. What are they doing? How much damage did you do? She's up there. Good, 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 good. so cool. Arena looks amazing. I want to go to one of the finals one of these years. Oh, I'm losing again.
먼저 이 결승 무대를 위해 8년을 기다린 팀이 있습니다. 즉 지난 7년 동안
They should just
결승
sell
무대에
him.
못 왔다는 거죠. 사실 저도 여러 번 결승을 위해 이 팀명 샤우팅 연습 열심히 했습니다. 한화
Oh,
생명
full. Why am I full? Oh no, we're running out of room. Oh, because they're low level. I remember now how it works. Level 2, level 1. No, I'm probably not going to get you going, Vix. Because you getting to level 3 is near impossible for your low chance. Level 2 is almost on the way out. You're level 3, so you're possible. You're level 2, so it's barely possible. You're level 1, that's why it's not going to work. Okay, I have to switch you out. After this one, I'll try to see if I can have time to do it. Sell that blitz, put another blitz in, replace him, give his item to something else. What did I get? Rage plate? Holder? For selling for stuff? Holder just because it's worth money then, right? Can become Rage Blade anyway, right? So you put that back, give you the crown. I'm a Rage Blade. Still there. Let's give you just 3 Rage Blade Smolder. I want to replace you probably with him. There we go.
명실상부 전전 최강팀으로 자리매김하며 LCK를 황금별빛으로 물들인 이들을 소개합니다. 역대 최고의 퍼포먼스 그 누구도 넘볼 수 없는 기록을 만듭니다. LCK 정규세전 최다 득실차 플러스
Here comes Gen G, let's go.
최초 라운드 전승 실점 제로 거기에 최다 세트 연승 20 최다 매치 연승 29 연속 우승의 수사 LCK 최초 포핏이라는 유일무이한 기록까지 뭐가 이렇게 많아. 하우스 오브 레전드의 신정한 레전드 펜타핏에 도전할 수 있는 유일한 LCK 팀 그리고 골든 로드에 도전할 수 있는 전 세계 단 한 팀. 이 정도는 돼야 절대 찐 이락이지. 디펜딩 챔피언 나가신다. 짠.
I feel a blizzard coming.
Oh, it's gonna be hard to get level 2s going now, isn't it? One more Vigar, maybe at least level 3. One more you have level 3. You're nowhere near. Did he keep anything, or does it still become the same thing? Let's find out. Become the same thing. There we go. He's starting something. Ooh, Zera. Guess we're getting a Zera.
과연 젠지가 SK 최초의 펜타핏에 성공할 수 있을지 아니면 한화생명이
Only
SK의 새로운 별이
one.
탄생했음을
Oh, I think I just passed the Vanguard, didn't I? I'm so blind.
Let the final begin. 우리은행과 함께하는 2024 SK
Gotta roll like crazy for him the next time.
젠지대
Got me.
대망의 그랜드 파이널을 이곳 경주 실내 체육관을 가득 메운 팬 여러분의 내가
There we go.
환호 함성과 함께 시작.
Can we get rid of this? Oh no, it's you. Don't do that yet.
하겠습니다.
Guess we just wait. What is Smolder anyway? Upper shit. Fucking Ezreal. Peter. She kind of just died. There we go.
Terror coming. Daddy coming.
Pretty much Zereth. And their super epic intros. Oh. We actually won that one. What's one in person? Huh. I'm gonna lose. Oh well. As far as we got as far as we did, honestly.
Are we best friends now?
We'll roll down so we get prior to this. No, I'm at level 3. What have you done? Oh, not that much more. Oh, sorry, I beat up Mike.
스프링 때 아쉽게 결승 진출에 실패했었는데 이번 서머 때 또 같은 일이 일어나지 않은 것에 대해서 되게 만족스럽고
We tried so.
결승전을 하는 것도 되게 오랜만이라 이런 느낌 자체는 좀 다른 것 같습니다. 하나생명이 최근에 경기력도 좋고 결승전까지 올라왔는데 그래도 무조건 저희가 이길 것 같습니다. 스프링 때보다 팀원들의 스타일이나 게임 방향성 같은 것들을 잘 정립해서 한번 때는 좀 더 강해진 것 같다는 생각이 드는 것 같아요.
일단 하나생명에 작년에 같이 했던 동료들이 있어서 느낌이 다를 것 같고 뭘 제가 신경 써야 되는지 저도 알고 있는 것 같습니다.
제가 그리핀 때 첫 결승을 했었는데 그때 바이퍼 선수랑 같이 했었거든요. 근데 그때는 제가 많이 못했어서 무기력하게 진 기억이 있는데 그때 미안함도 있고
There we go. Let's pick some bands.
Tigers. It is Tiger versus Tiger here in Gyeongju, which is absolutely fantastic.
And there is so much to talk about. The opening ceremony, the narratives, but we got to talk about the trash talk video.
Oh, it's so much better. Yeah, please.
Because
please.
that, I think that's the best one that I've seen. And I think Viper and Lahens particularly.
Well, there's a lot of damage.
I can't wait to see what up. I thought that they peaked early with Doran.
Which is state
saying,
exile,
he was going
probably.
to make Keen cry again, but nope.
There was some monkey shenanigans, some bananas were discussed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look, an LCK Finals is always a special day. It's always a monumentous occasion. This one feels like a rare one because finally, for the first time in so many finals, T1 were stopped at the gates of the lower bracket finals. KT couldn't do it. Hanwha couldn't do it last spring. But this time, the second time of asking, the T1 does not repeat history. And we have a brand new finals here. But at the same time, the underdog story for our challenger here on Hanwha Life Esports could not be more David and Goliath.
Well, I mean, when was the last time we saw a run from the lower bracket final? It was Doran and it was Peanut. Let's have a look at the predictions and see whether they're in line with me and that thought that I just had. No, not really. And that's going to continue all the way until the auxiliary vote comes in. And auxiliary does kind of mean a little bit more supportive, a little bit more secondary, and I think that that does certainly look to be the way here.
It's the spice up, right? But I think the fan vote is very kind of what we in line with what we expect. If you look at the
I
arena,
think that's a little bit higher on the orange side than I was expecting.
I actually like the coolest part to me as well, right? Hanwha Life fans have filled up. Next to Gen G fans, the light stick's also going to show those colors, so when you see the cams, when the kills come through, all of that is going to be absolutely incredible. And I can't wait to get into draft, because the one thing that we saw in the previous best of 5 between these two teams was how quickly Gen G in particular were willing to completely swap it up after that game number 1.
Yeah, and I think some of the things that Hanwha Life were able to get
purple for
away
Lulu.
with against
Perfect.
T1, like giving up the Ziggs pick, having the Jin as the answer, you will not be able to win those lanes against Gen G. Gen G have a lot more flexibility than T1 showed yesterday, which was frankly very little. So Hanwha got to hide, I think, a lot of what maybe their plan is against Gen G today, because they didn't also really have to flex that much because they kind of crushed T1. It could have been a 3-0. And Gen G today show nothing. They come in with that upper bracket finals advantage. They will have side selection for game 1, so that's a huge boon for them as well. Gen G coming into this one looking like we know what they can do in this meta. We know they are masters of this meta, but what else they have up their sleeves, we're going to find out.
And the thing that's great about this is that we're not the only ones that know. Hanwha Life Esports, they know extraordinarily well. And we're already into the draft here to see whether they can use that knowledge to try and take them down. Remember, there are the 4 remaining Griffin players here in Korea, all of them, in this game right now. Sword, of course, is coaching for Breon. Tarzan's overseas, but this is like as close to the Griffin reunion we can get. That's why we got such good trash talk, and I hope that that means that we get a lot of learnings here going into this. Already some change-ups of these bands.
And how poignant as well that it's happening in Gyeongju, such a culturally and historically significant city, because there's the Griffin narrative, right? The fact that all these players are back at it again, but there's also the fact that Doran, Peanut, and Delight were there for the entirety of last year, and obviously even going back to 2022 when this run started.
Yeah, now I want to talk about the Nidalee ban, because on red side, Hanwha is basically always going to have only one ban, because you have to ban the Rumble every time. You have to ban the Ziggs ban every time. Jovi will always have the opportunity to pick up this Smolder. Now, at least the one good thing here for Hanwha Life is they're not having to deal with Maokai, because that's going to be banned against Peanut every game. Peanut has been the focus. He's been the strongest player on this roster, picked up multiple POGs yesterday. The question is, what is the answer here to the Smolder? Because it has been very stable in lane. It has been incredibly difficult to deal with in late game. The Ashe comes through here. We will see the Zyra, so lots of engage here already for Hanwha Life.
Who just had the rock reaction, by the way? Just watching Ashe Zyra get locked in. Just kind of makes me a bit excited. Of course, Misfortune definitely a little bit on the more popular side, but man, it still just gives me the shivers.
That's a throwback there, and really the set of bans that Hanwha threw out is also what allowed this one too. You can't really play Ashe into Ziggs. That's a matchup that just doesn't really work. Ashe doesn't get to bully the way that she wants to, and Ziggs obviously really good against stationary AD carries. And then the one thing that Peanut and Zyra has struggled with is
Everyone
that
Smolder
niddly.
first got now
So
Stone play him because they thought he'd be weak. Now he's
coming.
first pick
A
priority
sharp
on blue
rise
side. It's
in the
crazy.
priority of that Skarner, though. We have of course already seen it come up as Paze is going to lock in the champion that I think has really been his standout, going all the way back to 2022 when he was popping off on this in Challengers in summer.
We actually saw Faker make this work into the Smolder matchup, utilizing that extra range with the draw of beads. Tristana locked in here, 4 seconds. We saw him considering the Yone as well. And going to this instead shows that he does think of it as a bit of a counter matchup.
And I think it does have a lot of extra utility that the Smolder doesn't have. It has a lot of power in the early mid-game, taking turrets out. If you leave this Tristana alone, a lot of gold gets funneled into Hanwha Life, which can allow you to snowball against that Smolder pick before it really comes online. Faker's performance on it, though, didn't really leave us really fulfilled in terms of the lane matchup. I think Zeka will have
Now
a
that
much
somehow
better
Smolder's
time
become the
here,
number 1 pick priority,
on the same hand,
he's supposed to have weak early game. What
how
happens?
these team fights are going to look here, a very fragile composition for Hanwha Life.
Who's worse, Smolder or Aurelion?
What sort of tanks are we going to see is the big question. As Braum gets taken away to deny
Your Aurelion's
that kill
worse?
lane in the bottom side.
You know Smolder comes to build and execute? Oh, that ain't Solar's Aurelion, huh?
Because it's most likely
They're
going
both
to the
cheating.
Keen that has to go for the blind pick here. Renekton is still available as well. The Alistar gets taken away. Leona and Rel still both up, so I imagine that Genji isn't going to ban one of those. But Doran has really stepped it up this playoffs.
Everybody watching, are you a fan of the new meta where everyone seems to be picking freaking marksmen in every role now?
Consistency that we saw at the beginning of the split, but this playoff has even had some big standout carry games, and T1 felt obliged to just start banning his Jax. So they could also do that if it isn't banned away and give the counter pick to Delight, but given how a lot of
Boreum's happy
played
Ziggs is
out, I
back.
imagine that we're going to see either a Leona or a Rel get locked in.
Now, in terms of engage, you have the Ashe Arrow and you have the Zyra, of course, but it's not necessarily consistent. It's not necessarily going to be very set up.
Leona,
so with
yes.
the Nautilus being
Leona.
taken away, they'll pivot to the Leona here. It's a pretty strong lane into the Ezreal, depending on what that support is going to be. We've thinned it out quite a significant amount here in these secondary bans, but this gives them also an additional front line. So I do like this Leona pick a lot here, even though it's not the go-to pick with Ashe, with the bans.
I died, but I did best I could.
They can keep that counter pick for Doran here as well. For the top lane, the Rel's still available here, extremely strong with Smolder, and also to a certain extent Skarner as well, with the combos you can set up, but it also gives you a lot of mid-game team fighting power.
As a 2v2, obviously not going to be anything to be excited about, but that's why I think the Ezreal, the safety in lane, hopefully be able to get Lahens out of lane. That's where he's excelled the most. It's also...
Good job, sounds a bit rich.
Yeah, I mean, good luck, Pace. On that one, obviously, also one of the reasons why the Ziggs has worked so well for Genji. But we saw yesterday, Delight's impact on the map was absolutely incredible and was one of the big reasons, as this shouldn't come as a surprise. But Doran really has whatever counterpicking a dream. The Camille can even go for something a little bit more aggressive, like the Renekton or his Jax. Gnar even is another one.
Yeah, and I think this pick is so strong for Keen, though, because I think Cassante is almost ideal for the composition here for Hanwha Life Esports. If they try to do something fancy here in blind, there's a counter pick opportunity, and also Doran might just want to go for a tank.
Yes, I'm playing William.
Not Maokai here. The Mordekaiser really fits the bill in terms of what they need in this composition. He's relatively tanky, has a lot of sustain in team fights,
yes, I'm
but he
playing.
can just deny the Skarner some of his entry points, because Skarner is so slippery. He can come from any angle, go through a wall, contest those objectives. One of the best ways to lock him down is just pull him out of the rift entirely.
Not only that, but Genji's playing a double carry composition, and Mordekaiser has the ability to just take out one of the, if you flash out onto Chovy, if he's ever in a position where that can happen, of Paze alone, I don't know if he's going to have the damage to get through the rest of Hanwha Life before he gets blown up.
There's also the fact that they're
everything
pretty
fuzzy.
much single engage composition as well. You take the Rel out of the fight, they're not going to have any initiative in any of these team fights, and it's likely that Mordekaiser is going to win that 1v1.
Yeah.
I'm willing to make that statement.
Safe
I know it's a bit out
That's true,
there.
William.
We've seen Keen
Is
actually do
Mordekaiser
this the most
usually
here in
going
the
to win the
LCK. We don't
1v1?
have a lot of players with the Mordekaiser license here. A lot of those licenses were issued over in the LP.
What about when
That's
you're?
where they
Who
kind
was
of
the last
belong.
time you're
Over
playing?
here,
You
we
just
haven't
you
found as
actually
much
they hated
success.
you for
And
it.
Doran is a player that does
You're beating the
generally
crap
just
out of him.
feel himself on certain picks in certain tournaments, and so far,
So you was it
haven't seen
Nico?
the board here.
Now, I think the main focus here
Or
for
someone you're playing, you kept beating the crap out of him in the 1v1
to
and
be
pissed
able
him
to
off.
secure enough of those with Tristana to be able to have that impact inside, take those turrets out, because team fighting early on, you're also going to be a little bit stronger there before the Ezreal gets his 2 items spike.
Someone you played, like the Mordecai kept
Smolder
pulling you in
comes
there and you
online.
pissed him off.
When you win those fights, you need to get bigger wins on the map. You need to be able to take those turrets out early, be oppressive, because the late game is coming. The scaling for this composition for Genji is coming, so you really need to have a lot of control. You might have to give up a dragon or two, which feels terrible in the Smolder, but you've got to secure those grubs.
I love to see the amount of Hanwha fans as well. The fans of this organization have waited for so long for them to make it back. Again, it's been 8
following League of Legends esports
Riven?
For as long as Peanut was wearing this jersey, understands the trials and tribulations for this player in particular as well. His international woes, the fact that he hasn't been able to cross that finish line for this roster ever. And yeah, since he won back in 2017.
He has been so consistent. He has never given up. He's the last Rocks Tiger. That roster split up entirely. He went to SKT, but he is still a top player, a top jungler. And yes, people will always criticize some of his chokes, some of his international performances, but here domestically has been the pinnacle of top jungle play, smart passing, and even when he hasn't been considered the best jungler in the LCK, he's always been top 3.
Yeah, and he's also, like, he's won, obviously. Many other times, you know, twice with Gen G, the team is facing down now with SKT as well. When he joined that roster in what was considered a super team by a lot of people, he's been able to take titles in the past, but never for this same organization, never to go back and finally deliver it to Humble Life Esports for the very first time, but also the successes to the Rocks Tigers, and to finally deliver it once again.
And that right there is actually the stickers of the emote set that came out for the LCK.
Ah, yeah.
So you got your buff orange at the ready.
And we do have a little bit of a delay getting onto the Rift for our very first game, guys, but we are very, very close to getting ready to get into it. Oh, this is Danish. Wow.
What up, Fury? He goes in, doesn't make it out.
Last time I saw him in Korea. Like, there's real John Lennon energy happening here. I feel like really calm down.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It does suit the crazy vibes of that crazy roster back in 2021.
That's true. I guess I'm a bit too into
It's a little bit more mad scientist, you know?
He made it to grow. It's
They're gonna come jump me.
It was a bit of a tumultuous ride for Wave.
He's just come back to write some sweet music, you know?
I believe in you.
But we're just making sure that everyone's stuff works. A little bit of a peripheral situation, as you can see here. We've paused it at 0000, by the way.
Yeah.
I know that we're going to be jumping in at about a minute, because that's generally what we do. But yeah, it's just before we get on, we want to make sure that, you know, people can press their buttons and move their mouse. It's pretty good.
And we talked a lot already. We'll obviously continue to talk about Hanwha Life, what they've been able to achieve, even making it to the finals, given that some people, me included, thought that the finals was going to be too strong.
Oh, I exploded.
So we'll get to that later.
Yep, we've certainly got time. I mean, at least I hope we've got time. Hopefully this isn't a very quick series like
Just getting too brave and wave.
would have you believe. We're hoping that we see something more from Humble Life Esports, debuting this Mordekaiser on the top side of the map for game number 1.
Game number 1. Let's go. Who do you think's win boring? Sante or Mordekaiser?
Spring win was something that really felt like a very deserved end to his journey. Genji then went on to win MSI as well, being one
We
of the
just
first
got here.
LCK teams in a good amount of time to do so.
Exploding on people.
Really also sets up for the fact that this team has ran our region for almost 3 consecutive years now, right? Starting all the way back in 2022, then having the surprise win when T1 had their dominant split in 2023. And the one constant throughout all of that has been Chovy. And I feel like he has even mentioned this himself in interviews. The insane thing to me is that he's like, yeah, I don't feel like I've had the best split.
Yeah.
Which, compared to Spring, feels somewhat true. But then you look
MVP,
at,
by the way.
Yeah, MVP, by the way. By far the best mid laner. But then you look at his stats and you look at not just the fact that he individually has been such a standard player for so long and finally broken the curse of not being able to perform internationally, but also the fact that despite all that, I feel like he didn't have as good of a split, which that's insane to me because the gap between him and as good as that guy's been still is something that is, I think, the biggest if you compare it to any other role in the Rift today.
There have been some seasons, especially with Chovy on Gen G, where I felt like he was the centerpiece and everything.
Oh, nice. We actually got a clear sweep. Good job.
But it was Chovy's team, right? Yeah. And I feel like he may appear, even to himself, like he's less impactful right now because the rest of his team is so strong and the synergy is really there. And this team has really peaked, right? We have been living in
they surrendered.
Legacy. We have been living in their era, like you said, for nearly 3 years here. Chovy's always been a part of that, but now it's no longer just about him, it's about this 5-man roster and their dominance that we saw from them in spring, moving into summer, which was even more dominant. And to me, I look at Chovy as a player who's always improving, always growing, hasn't peaked. As we jump into the game now, we're finally back.
Finally back, we'll see whether Chovy can peak further here in this one on the Smolder this time around. Of course, I think Smolder is not going to be only played in the mid lane throughout this series. I think this sort of first pick really does help open up drafting opportunities. Genji utilizing it very well here. If Life Esports can smack it down in the mid lane, then it's likely that the series gets a bit easier for them moving forward. Not to mention the fact that this isn't their service game.
Should also come as no surprise that Genji is setting up for a lane swap right now with the position they have. The level 1 for Life is really strong though. They might have to find a way to at least ensure that they can get something going here in this level 1, because if Peanut's able to just even steal away a Raptor camp, that kind of already starts tilting the experience in favor. But it looks like with Viper already heading towards spot lane, that's one of your strongest level 1 champions. Not going to be the case, and it looks like we will just have the standard lane swap setup where Kane's going to take the top half of the map. Pays and Keen are going to split, and then Lahens is going to lane with Chovy, and I imagine move around depending on where he's needed.
Yeah, you see Doran's going bottom side here. They set up a deep ward to the left of Genji's Raptor camp, so they'll get some additional, information about how the pathing is going to go for Canyon should he decide to go over there and be greedy. Peanut also knows he's safe to now come in here and take these Raptors with that warding. As you look at the win rate here, by the way, for Pays on this Ezreal, it's a pick that's kind of fallen off quite significally. It was extremely strong a few patches ago, but he was incredible on it. Second really only to Viper in terms of his individual Ezreal plays, and some would even argue stronger than Viper at times. It's a niche pick right now in this meta, but I feel like it's so incredibly strong with this trap because you have a great front line, you spike at 2 items, the Smolder is going to come online later, then you have this hyper scaling composition, so we have to keep our eyes on how well he is shut down.
We're going to be smart. But they're having as many issues it seems. At least one stream, which has already been split in like 5 or 6 videos in. I think I'm going to call it good for now. And I'll probably record a video or do something else. And then, yeah. To be smart, I think, when I do this. But I guess for now, those of you stop by, you guys have a good Sunday. If you can, go ahead and catch up on too, like I am. I want to continue watching this. So watching the LCK finals, LEC finals, and the LCS finals. Until next time, buddy, guys, take care. Bye, everybody.